Hi, it's Pastor Penny, and it's Tuesday, August 25th, and it's History Day, Presbyterian history. Yay! Um, so, of course, in reading about history, one thing leads to another, and so I got caught up in this person's story. His name is Amasa Converse. And it almost looks like a caricature, doesn't it? See his glasses up on his forehead and the look in his eye and that beard, that weird beard. So that's Amasa Converse. And he was the editor of a paper called the Christian Observer for quite a while, although there were some years that I went in and out. Sometimes he stopped printing it. He was a veteran newspaperman and an ordained minister, and he was affiliated with the New School of the Presbyterian Church. So he started out being a paper for both the North and the South, and tensions were rising. It was before the Civil War, and he started editing and printing his the Observer from Richmond, Virginia, which of course is in the South. And then things got more and more heated between the North and the South, and he was very pro-slavery and thought the North was very wrong. He also thought that the Bible made it obvious that that he had every right to be pro-slavery, that it was in the Bible. Well, you can look in the Bible and you can justify almost anything if you take things out of context, if you take some of this, especially the Old Testament things, literally, which most of them are not meant to be taken literally. And he had little use for, so then Abraham Lincoln was elected, and he really got upset. He had little use for Lincoln. He believed he was a bloodthirsty barbarian, capable of the most wicked deeds that man could conceive. Of course, this is really extreme. And the Presbyterian leaders were embarrassed by some of his editorials because they got more and more in your face. And I'm not sure if he alone was the only person who put out this paper or if there were other writers. But they do say that these were the editorials. And so then he was, when Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation came out, Converse made no efforts to conceal his racism. And he frequently argued that the true friend of the black was not the Yankee abolitionist, but rather the Southern slaveholder who understood how to educate a Negro. And he claimed that the Southern slave owners, were treated their slaves well, and that if they became free, they would become terrible people and not want to be free, and all kinds of things. So it's and at one point he was arrested because he would not give up his paper, or he would not move it to the North. He wouldn't cooperate with anyone, and so he finally gave up the keys and to the building and to his safe. And to the very end of the war, the Christian Observer insisted that the Confederate States were invincible. But by June 1865, when it was apparent that the Confederacy was destroyed forever, Converse accepted the inevitable and urged his readers to promote reconciliation of the North and South. So he did come to a point where he was trying to promote peace. And once again, the Observer became more of a religious than a political journal. Well, by then he was 70, and he kept going for a while and he was the editor until he died. But a lot happened between the time he started it and the years later throughout the Civil War. And this guy was a Presbyterian minister. I guess that's what kept me reading about his story. I'm sure today there are some racist ministers. There are ministers who go across the spectrum with beliefs. Just because they're serving God as an ordained minister doesn't mean they necessarily have fair beliefs or promote equality in all people. One would hope, but we just don't know. So that's the story of Amasa Converse. And I thought it was kind of interesting. And Civil War is a long time ago. And all these feelings and all these opinions were out there. He thought Lincoln was bloodthirsty and all kinds of things. So that's my tidbit of Presbyterian history for today. Blessings.